The African National Congress, the ANC party, which has been in power in South Africa since 1994, won its fifth consecutive electoral victory in May this year. It picked up about 62% of the national vote, slight drop from 2009 when it picked up 65%, and this drop is mostly due to a perceived lack of performance by President Jacob Zuma. Now, President Jacob Zuma has been inaugurated for a second term and appointed a new government. And that government will face some serious challenges going forward over President Zuma's second term. Mostly, the economy is in a slowdown, once again. IHS expects the economy to grow by only about 1.6% this year. And this is mostly due to the longest running and most costly strike in the platinum mining sector in South Africa. Three of the world's largest platinum producers, which together account for about 40% of global platinum supply, have been facing work stoppages and violent protests by a very belligerent union since January in 2014. This has impacted the economy massively, where we've seen a first quarterly contraction since 2009 in the South African economy. And total mining sector output has dropped to levels we have only seen since 1967, which is during the dark days of the struggle against apartheid. Now, the government does have a plan in place, which it seeks to implement over the course of the second term. It's called the National Development Plan, which is a very broad macroeconomic framework to try and stimulate the economy to about 5.4% economic growth and to boost employment numbers in the country. This National Development Plan is a very ambitious project by the government. As I said, it seeks to stimulate growth from current 1.6% to about 5.4% over the next few years. The NDP has been adopted as policy by the African National Congress Party, but its implementation going forward in the second term of President Jacob Zuma will face serious challenges. Now, first of all, the key political partners of the ANC party, in the labor unions and the South African Communist Party, do not agree with various parts proposed by the National Development Plan. For example, labor unions and the South African Communists very much object to the liberalization of labor regulations in South Africa. So these parts are likely to be watered down and are unlikely to be fully implemented. At the same time, investors had hoped for Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, a very pro-business architect of the NDP, to be put in power to implement a plan, and that's not been the case. And furthermore, various government appointments, such as the Finance Minister Nanla Nene, who does not have the experience of being Finance Minister in the first term, are lacking the political power within the African National Congress to resist pressure from other government departments for increased spending, etc. So essentially, the second government, President Jacob Zuma, is almost possibly too weak to implement this very ambitious macroeconomic strategy. Despite all this negativity of these costly long-running strikes, this economic slowdown, a potentially weak government under President Zuma for a second term, there will be some very clear opportunities in this high-risk environment in South Africa. Now, this mostly comes on the back of parts of the National Development Plan that are more likely to be implemented. For example, the government still plans to spend about $78 billion in infrastructure spending over the next 3 years. It will also seek to encourage private investment from South African businesses as well as foreigners to enter the South African economy and to form public-private partnerships with state-owned enterprises and state investment vehicles. Now, these opportunities will particularly come in the construction sector to build huge projects envisaged by the government in transport infrastructure, water and power infrastructure. So South African as well as foreign construction companies have real opportunities there. Beyond that, there will be opportunities in the form of incentives being offered by the government to companies looking to beneficiate a local mining sector in terms of metal refining or metal smelting, transportation of metals to ports. And beyond that, South Africa has an economic imperative to improve and to expand its electricity generating capacity. Now, at the moment, it is dominated by coal, and this will continue to be the case in the future as well. So coal mining companies have a clear advantage there, but also independent power producers will be encouraged to come in to contribute to the generating capacity with renewable sources of energy. And one of the least talked about, just the most exciting opportunities for South Africa is probably the development of the huge reserves of shale gas that have been found in the Karoo.